And we are here at Glenview Ice Arena for start of your state round robin tournament. Your Hawks are taking on Glenview Stars. Hawks in their white jerseys will be going left to right this first period. 17-minute running clocks, or 17-minute clocks. Once again, I am a dad, I am a fan. I get excited about these games just as much as everybody else does. So bear with me. I'll bring you the best I can. Tater at the dot. Wins it back to Liv. Liv comes up the near side wall, passing it up towards Philly. Stopped at the blue line. Going into the far side corner. Glenview sends it up to the blue line. Liv sends it down, goes off a bus. Bus goes behind the goal line. Up the far side wall. Alexa seals it. Glenview on the rush. We got 2-on-1 here. Stepped up. Kick save there by Luch. Back up top of the side. Shot goes down. Deflected there by Liv. Up to the top of the circle. Glenview puts it down. Alexa takes it off the shoulder. Bus battles at the goal line. Up the far side wall. Glenview trying to push it down. They got a whistle. Net was off its mounts. Sends it back over. Demi sends it up to the hash marks. Stopped there by Glenview. Up and out of the zone. Going all the way back. And that's going to be an icing call. Coming back for a defensive zone draw. Offsides. Alexa and Liv switch spots. Maddie at the dot. Goes over to Alexa. Alexa stops, turns it around for it. Grabbed up at the top of the circle. Sends it down on net by Kendall. No whistle. Glenview's going to come up the near side. Up through center ice. Alexa with the big save there. Mango goes up that far side. Drops in. Goes back behind the goal line. Glenview sends it all the way around to the near side. Glenview dusts it off and goes around Jocelyn. Comes across the blue line with it. Stopped at the top of the circle. Kicked back into center ice. Sent in just a tad bit too early. Everybody's got to tag up. Back around Luch up the near side wall. Kicked away there by Jocelyn. Grabs it off the far side wall. Sends it up and out. No icing. Going to go all the way the distance. Hawks get a line change. Philly comes on. Just misses that one. Goes all the way back into the corner. Greta sends it over to the far side hash marks for Bus. Bus met up with an immovable object. Tater back behind the net. Up the near side wall to Philly. Philly kicks it back into center ice. Goes all the way to the near side corner for Glenview. They send it around their far side. Stopped at the blue line there by Carmen. Picked up. Goes off the far side post by Gia into the near side corner. Battling in the near side corner. Bus trying to come away with it. Sends it back behind the net. Philly going over to the other corner to try to chase him after it. Stops it at the hash marks. Glenview's going to grab it, send it back over around this way. Up the near side wall. Tipped around, going in towards Luch, but it is an icing call. Brownie at the dot. Rookie to the near side, Jess to the far side. Glenview draws this one back. They send it back behind the net and then back into the far side corner. Jess stops it there at the goal line. Rookie tapping it away, gets it towards the net, but picked up by Glenview. Liv steps up to the near side hash marks, trying to keep it down. Liv at the goal line with it. Centers it up. Oh, goalie tips it away. Glenview pops it into center ice. Just in front of center ice and dumps it down, and that is an icing call. I'm good. I got one. Thank you, honey. And you too.
There's a lot we need to take care of them for.
I'm cheap labor.
That's not what you gotta say.
Top of the circle, Liv kicks it down. Stops it at the blue line again. Glenview is able to poke this one forward from center ice. Sends it just past Luch, back behind the net. Alexa's going to pick it up, send it back over to the near side corner. Liv grabs it. Comes up the wall towards Sizzle. Sent in on net. Goalie has to reach down, cover it up. Stopping the clock here at 11:52. Cheaters are driving me nuts. Maddie at the dot. Ooh, quick shot on net there by Kendall. Maddie ties up the center. Kendall trying to poke it away. So is Sizzle. Loose puck. Sizzle knocks it back behind the net. Goes into the far side corner. Grabbed up by Maddie. Maddie top of the circle. Dropping it for Sizzle. Sizzle goes back behind the net. In the near side or far side corner. Back behind the net. Kendall grabs it. Sends it back to Maddie. Maddie's taking a shot off the backside of the goalie. Good pressure here by the Hawks so far. See a spark coming out. Love to see it. Tater at the dot.
Peter Dumpty at the dot. Ellie Phillips.
Yes. Co-hosting here tonight is Mr. Collins. Thank you for stepping in. Demi with the shot. Battling up, picked up by Tater Dumpty, goes up to the point for Demi. Demi puts it down low, kicked over to the near side corner. Philly trying to get to it, can't quite see. Picked up by Bus, carries it over, sends it over to Demi, top of the circle, puts a shot on net, ends up getting tipped back behind her and over to the near side corner again. Top of the circle, stopped by Tater Dumpty, gets it back to Bus. Bus trying to put it down, gets tipped over and goes over to the far side corner. Hawks going for a line change. Philly sends it up the boards. Glenview coming up. Tossing it around a couple. Goes through the one set of legs, but Carmen grabs it. Goes back behind the net with it. Drops it for Jess on the near side corner. Jess sending it up towards Caden. Caden lost the handle of it before the blue line. Glenview, top of the circle. Goes up to the slot. Kicked away by Carmen. Goes over to the far side circle. Brushed up to the blue line. Blocker saved there by Reese. Gia trying to pick up that loose puck, skated over it. Glenview ends up retreating into their own zone, tapping it into the Hawk zone now. Carmen goes back, grabs it, back behind the net, gets it over towards Greta on the far side. Greta tosses it off around one, goes up the far side boards. Glenview keeps it in and sends it back behind the goal line where Carmen picks it up, goes back behind Luch, bounces it off the boards towards Caden. Caden kicks it back into center ice. Glenview's going to pick it up, send it over to their far side D. Back in through the middle. Oh, Caden almost picked that one off. Brookie picks up the loose puck. Back over to Greta at the blue line. Just misses Brownie. Goes into the near side corner on Glenview. Jess goes up the far side wall. Glenview tapped it around. Kicked back in through center ice. Goes in towards Luch. Luch kicks it over. Grabbed up by Greta. Greta bounces it off the wall. Brownie battling. Carries it across the blue line. Sends a pass over towards Brookie. Brookie chasing after it. Glenview sends it up the boards. Brownie grabs up that loose puck, carries it through the slot. Back up top to the point. Kick over towards Liv, top of the circle. Liv puts it down, goes off a boot and back behind the net, picked up by Bricky. Bricky back behind the net, lost the handle of it. Puck just sitting there on the side of the post. Grabbed up by Brownie. Brownie trying to get a pass up to the point. Kicked around the D. Grabbed up at center ice by Bricky. Sends it up to the blue line. Bouncing puck. Controlled up by Glenview. Hawks going for a line change. Glenview gets up to the blue line, dumps it in. They go for a full line change too. Alexis sends it up towards Kendall. Taken away, top of the slot. Luke takes it off the face mask. Goes into the far side corner. Back up top of the slot for Glenview. Walking the line, tries to put it down. Liv grabs that one. Gets through traffic, puts it into center ice. Dropped back in by Glenview. Delayed offsides. Liv had some time. Sends it in through center ice. Kendall picks it up, carries it down low. Down to the goal line. Trying to wrap around, gets a puck in front. Maddie was all tied up. Lucy puck bouncing up in front of the crease there. Comes over the near side wall, sent up. Ends up coming back into center ice, grabbed up by Demi. Demi puts it in the center, grabbed up by Sizzle. Sizzle battling that center ice here. Carries it across the blue line. Near side dot, trying to get a shot off. Goes off the goalie. Bounce up high in the air. Finally covered up by the goalie. Stopping the clock at 7:47 here in the first. Beverage break. Tater Dumpty at the dot. Bus, Philly, Jocelyn, and Demi. Big Luch in net. Comes over to Philly. Philly trying to take a shot. Goes off a boot and corralled up by Glenview. Up near side corner. Bus trying to circle around. Get some space. Puts it on net. I think I remember it last year where I said good things happen when you put puck on net. And Tater put it off the backside of the goalie in for the winning goal. If I'm not mistaken. Tater at the dot. Wins it back to Jocelyn. Jocelyn grabs it from the nearest side hash marks. Off the goalie, kicked all the way out to the Demi at the blue line. Demi carried that one in just a little bit too quick. Offsides being called. Tater at the dot. Grabbed up by Glenview, sent it up to the blue line. Demi sends it back into center ice. Tater sends it all the way over to the near side wall. Going to be picked up by Glenview. Bouncing around to the far side hash marks. Chia chasing after it. Glenview carries it back down in front of their goalie. Up the near side. Jocelyn keeps it to the outside. And Luke swallows that up. Stopping the clock at 6:57. Got Gia at the dot. Greta, Caden. Shot goes down on Luch. She drops down, covers it up. Gia, Caden, Carmen, Greta, Mango. Puck goes back down behind the goal line. Greta sends it up towards the hash marks. Gia's going to try to get there. Glenview sends it back down behind the net, or behind the goal line. Greta steals that pass, goes back behind Luch over to the far side corner, sends it off the wall towards Mango. Mango tips it up. Caden carries it across center ice, drops it into the near side corner. Glenview's going to get it, send it all the way up to the blue line. Stopped there by Greta. Brownie trying to pick it up, and she does. She carries it in, takes the shot, goes off the shoulder, loose puck in the slot. Nobody can pick it up. Glenview finally gets a handle on it. Sends it up and into center ice. Tipped over towards Carmen from Brookie. Carmen gets up to the blue line, drops this one in behind the goal line. Glenview's going to come up the near side. Stopped there by Jess. Jess picks up the puck, gets it over to Brookie. Her shot gets deflected and comes over to the near side wall. Gotta love Mom. Grabbed up by Jess, back up to Alexa. Alexa back down to Jess. Jess at the far side hash marks, bounced it off the wall, picked up by Glenview. Back into the behind the goal line, tipped away, comes in through the slot, kicked away. Grabbed up by Glenview. Little poke check. Good back check there by Brownie. Brownie battling here at center ice. Liv stops it from going into the zone. Brownie swatting away at it. Goes back into Glenview's territory. Glenview spins around. Hawks on a line change. Whoa, that was close. Sorry. Like I said, I'm a dad. I'm a fan. I get excited about the games. Glenview went through the slot, tried to get it up to the far side. Tipped away at the last minute there. Ends up being sent up this near side wall. Luch kicks it over to the far side where Alexa is there to grab it. She sends it over to Liv. Liv looks up, sends a pass over to the far side for Kendall. Kendall gets it across the blue line. Stopped by Glenview. Pressure, and then Glenview sends it across the middle. Picked up by Alexa. Alexa stops, turns around, gets a pass over towards Jocelyn. Jocelyn's pass gets deflected, bounces up to the blue line, grabbed up by Glenview. Bouncing puck up the near side wall. Swatted back towards the Hawks blue line. Didn't have control. Should be a offsides, but Jocelyn's pass gets taken away by Glenview, top of the circle. Maddie grabs the puck, sends it. Had a touch, goes all the way down. Hawks going for another change here. Demi comes out. Shot on net, blocked up and over to the bottom of the circle on the far side. Back up to Demi at center ice. Demi drops it over to Jocelyn. Jocelyn comes up near side wall. Puts a slug shot on net. Goalie reaches down, covers it up. Tater Jumpy coming in for a big fall. .352 to go here in the first period. Tater Dumpty at the dot, comes over towards Philly, grabbed up by Glenview, sent back behind the net. Over to the far side corner, Bus gets there, stops it at the goal line. Taken away by Glenview, and it comes back over behind the net and over to the near side here. Glenview coming up the wall. Stopped at center ice for a split second. Kicked back into the Hawk zone, grabbed up by Demi at the near side hash marks. Tater comes in, sends the puck in through center ice. Got a touch. Goes back in behind the goal line, grabbed up by Bus. Bus trying to carry it up the far side wall. Picked up by Philly. Philly goes off the far side post, back up through the circle. Grabbed up by Glenview. Glenview's going to chuck this one up back into the Hawk zone. Grabbed up by Carmen. Carmen goes back behind the net, up the near side wall. Gets crushed up along the near side wall, loses the handle of the puck, top of the slot, put down low. Luch was going wrong way on that one, but thank goodness it went far near side. Carmen comes up, threads the needle, gets a pass up towards Philly. Philly kicks it into the near side zone. Comes up the wall, Greta grabs the puck. Oh, just off of her stick, and Glenview picks it up. Glenview back behind their net and over to the far side hash marks. Carmen steps up, puck comes wide, misses everybody, and should have the distance for an icing, and it does. .225 here to go in the first period. Gia, Mango, Caden, Liv, and Alexa. Gia goes, pushes it into the far side corner, comes back up along the near side. Stopped there by Mango. Gia trying to grab it. Liv steps up, trying to pick it back down. Mango's shot gets tipped and goes up back into the near side corner. Glenview with it. Mango trying to push it around. Mango and Gia. Mango comes their way with it. Glenview's all on top of it. They send it back behind the net. Caden chasing after it. Comes up back into the near side corner, up towards Liv. She kicks it back down low. Swatted away, top of the circle. Back in through center ice. Glenview, far side circle. Alexa with the block. Brownie tips this one, ends up going back into center ice. Glenview's got to retreat. Comes back up to the near side blue line. Liv keeps it out of the zone. That's offsides. Alexa drops it for Liv. Liv comes up near side, gets it up towards Jess. Jess at the blue line. Gets around one. Her pass gets deflected as it hits the blue line. Back in through center ice. Liv gets it. Gets it over towards Demi. Demi tips it along the far side wall. That was something. Puck comes up on the near side. Josh trying to keep it in. Glenview spins around. Centering pass off the mark and ends up going up that far side wall. Brookie grabs it. Gets it up towards Maddie. Maddie drops it for Josh. Josh pass up towards the blue line, taken away by Glenview. Back at the bottom of the near side circle. Maddie picks it up. Pushes it up to Jess. Jess told to skate with it as she comes through center ice. Loses the handle of it. Glenview pushes it back to the far side blue line. We got 30 seconds to go here. Glenview pushing it up to the blue line. Ends up going through the slot, grabbed up by Demi. Demi puts it up the far side. Brookie kicks it up to the blue line, grabbed up by Glenview. Glenview top of the circle, drops it down low. Loses the handle of it. Kick save. Another shot. Grabbed up by Maddie on the near side circle. She's going to bury it in the corner. Jocelyn trying to keep it down low. We got 4 seconds. Stopping it with .1. I mean, lets it run out, and that's the end of your first period. Scoreless. Who's got bottle service?
I don't know the words. I only want to watch Andrew outside. Play the video.
All right, we're at bus. Pushes it along the wall. Glenview's right there on top of it. Ends up going back down into the corner. Glenview's going to try to get there. Liv pokes it away. Pushed over to the far side. Glenview was right there to pick it up. Back over near side. Back behind the net. Tipped away by Tater. Pushes it up towards the hash marks. Philly's going to get it. Leave it for Tater. Tater battles along that far side wall. Trying to kick it away. Philly sends it back behind the net, and Liv's going to go back over, grab it, get it over to Alexa. Alexa sends it back to Liv. Liv's got one on. Tipped away from her. Gets it over to Alexa on the near side. Alexa pushing her forward to Bus. Bus busts it out into center ice. Glenview's right there. Pressured up by Tater. Kick there at the blue line. Tater grabs the puck, comes along the near side, shovels it through the middle, and ends up going over to the far side wall. Jocelyn on the ice now, back in through center, picked up by Alexa. Alexa goes through traffic, drops it in. Hawks going for a line change. Goalie taps it over to the near side. Glenview trying to stretch it. Icing being called. Brownie at the dot, or coming up to the dot. Got Brookie far side, Jess near side, Demi and Jocelyn. Back behind the goal line. Brownie battling with it. Glenview decides to come up that far side wall. Brownie pushed the girl off the puck. Going to get called for a penalty here. So Hawks go on the penalty kill here. 2 minutes at 15:32. Jocelyn taps it back towards the slot, decides to stop and turn around. Looks up ice, sends it up to the blue line. Glenview's got to retreat back into through center ice. Over to the near side wall. Just putting some pressure up along the near side wall. Glenview picks it back up to their point and off the mark, and then back into the Hawks zone. Grabbed up by Glenview at the top of the circle, carrying it back behind the net. Brookie with some good pressure, goes into the corner, takes a slash. Glenview with the puck up along the near side wall. Luch with a big save. How was that not called a slash? Maddie comes up to the dot with Sizzle, Liv, and should be Greta. Glenview, top of the circle, sends it into the corner. Back up near side, through the slot, taken away. Luch kicks it over to the far side. Liv sends it up and out. Killing off some time. Rolling puck's going to go all the way back to the goal line. Sizzle chasing after it. Glenview comes all the way around with it. Up to the near side wall, back behind the goal line. In the far side corner, picked up by Greta. Greta grabs the puck, bounces it up the wall. Glenview, 3 players are right there. Greta with poke checks that one. Glenview carries it through. Kick saved by Luch. Gets it over to the far side corner. Liv grabs it. Sends it in through center ice. Bouncing puck. It's going to come all the way into the near side corner. Hawks get a full line change out. Back behind the net. Taken away there by Maddie. Reese comes in. Glenview up along the near side wall. Sends it up to the blue line. Demi battling for it. Glenview comes into the zone. Stopped there by Mango. Mango comes through center ice. Dusts it off around one. Lost the handle. Ends up dropping it in. Penalties are now over. Back to 5-on-5. Kendall puts it off the near side post. Up the boards. Takes a funky bounce. Goes all the way through center ice. Carmen swatted away, but picked up by Glenview. Glenview carries it across the blue line. Shot through or pass through the middle. Picked up by Kendall. Kendall's on the rush. Takes the shot. Goalie paddles that one over to the far side. Grabbed up by Kendall. Pushed up to the top of the circle. Glenview pushing it through center ice. Gets past center ice. Puts a knuckler down on Luch. She covers it up. Stops the clock at 12:52, and I get to take a break and catch my breath. .12:52, score still tied at zeros. Tater talking it out over with everyone. Got Bus, Greta, Philly, Carmen on the near side. Carmen ties up Glenview. Ends up going along the near side boards. Bus trying to help out. Carmen picks it away. Bus trying to pass it off. Loose puck that goes back down towards Carmen. Greta shovels it up the far side wall towards Philly. Philly kicks it into center ice. Grabbed up by Tater. Tater gets pressed into the wall. Back behind the net and over to the near side hash marks. Glenview comes back up to the blue line with it. Kicked off of her stick, just past Patty, and that is the icing. 12:16 on the clock. Scores tied up at zeros. Got Tater, Philly, and Bus, along with Alexa and Liv. Tied up. Loose puck. Goes through the slot. Philly draws the penalty. Glenview touches the puck. Nice job, Philly. Hawks go on the power play here at 12:10 in the second. Jess and Brookie come out. Got Tater centering up those two with Liv and Alexa. Alexa's going to man the slot. Top of the circle picked up by Glenview. Glenview sends it all the way out and down. Alexa grabs it, goes back behind Luch, looks up, passes it up the near side wall to Jess. Jess sends it into center ice. Glenview sends it back across the blue line. Liv's going to pick it up. Go back behind the net with it. Stop, changes direction, gets it over towards Brookie. Brookie grabs it off of her feet. Gets a pass up towards Jess. Tipped away there by Glenview. Alexa stepped up. Jess taps it in. Brookie grabs it. Drops it at the top of the circle. Brookie picks it up. Takes a shot on net. Trying to squeeze it through that near side post. Fresh set of 5 coming out. Got 1:20 left on the power play. Brownie at the dot. Philly far side. Maddie on the near side. Demi and Jocelyn. Goes down behind the goal line. Brownie battling for it. Maddie pulls it up. Comes up along the near side wall. Pass towards Demi. Goes over her stick and all the way down into the Hawks zone. Glenview's going to get there first. Back behind the net. Picked up by Demi. Demi's got the puck. Looking up. Sends a pass up near side for Maddie. Maddie gets crunched. Glenview puts it back into center ice. Grabbed up by Jocelyn. Jocelyn shoves it over the far side wall. Grabbed up by Brownie. Gets it over to Philly. Philly walks it in. Centering it up over to Maddie. Maddie's shot goes off the blocker up the near side wall. Grabbed up by Brownie to Philly. Pass to Carmen off the mark. Back into center ice. Jocelyn regroups at the blue line. Jocelyn's going to carry it through. Lost the handle at the blue line. Trip on Brownie. Hawks going on the power penalty kill. No, I'm sorry. We were still on the power play. Now it's 4-on-4 for 15 seconds. And then Glenview will be on the power play. See Big Mike and Larry down in their respective spots down in the corner there. Kendall comes up to the dot and draws this one back. Gets it over to the far side wall. Glenview tipped away there by Liv. Liv battling back behind the net. Got 7 seconds left on the 4-on-4. Liv comes up the near side wall, bounces it off the wall, carries it into through center ice. Taken off the puck by Glenview. Still try to get to it. Glenview's penalty is now over. Tipped back in. Glenview has to retreat, trying to stretch the ice. Sends it all the way down, and that should be an icing, and it is. Got 9:54 on the clock. 1:31 left on the PK. Reset the dot. Glenview wins it over to the near side wall. They go back behind the goal line with it. Over to the far side hash marks. Jess grabs it, sends it back down low. Up the far side wall. Tipped away there by Mango for a second. Back in through center ice. Grabbed up by Greta at the blue line. Kicks it out. Glenview's got to retreat. Comes over to the near side. Crosses the blue line with it. Tipped away. Grabbed back up. Puck comes back into center ice. Grabbed up by Glenview. Pushing it across. Reese steals it. Offsides. Offsides. Tater was trying to jump on, and we got caught. $54 seconds left on the PK. Tater comes up to the dot. Glenview grabs it. Jocelyn swats him away. Offsides called. Tater, Brookie, Jocelyn, Liv. Jocelyn grabs that off the shoulder. Loose puck at the blue line. Battle for it. Glenview retreats, goes over to the far side. Dropping it in down low, goes back behind the net. Jocelyn grabs it, sends it over to the far side corner. Back behind the net, over a stick and into the near side corner. Up the near side wall. Shot on Luch. Catches that one. 17 seconds left on the PK. 8:40 on the clock.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. What was that? Tater jumped you at the dot. Tater wins it over to the near side. Alexa grabs it, falls to her knees. Glenview battling for it. Alexa sends it back up to the hash marks. Back down low. Alexa sends it up and out. Glenview's got to retreat. That should kind of kill off the PK. Back behind the net. Tater tips it. Goes over to the far side wall. Back to 5-on-5. Liv grabs the puck. Sends it back to the hash marks on the far side. Glenview retreats around. Trying to come up through the center. Alexa swats this one out of air at the blue line. Knocks it back down low. Picked up at the near side dot. Bounces it over to the far side. Gia grabs the puck. Swatted it away for a second there. Glenview picks it up. They get across center ice. Drop it down on Luch. She catches that one. Stops the clock at 7:52. Get a line change for your Hawks. Maddie, Sizzle, Kendall, Carmen, and Greta. Maddie at the dot wins it over to Greta on the far side. Greta sends it all the way around over to Kendall on the near side hash marks. Takes a funky bounce. Luch kicks that one away. Carmen and Maddie collided. Ends up coming back in through center ice. Kendall trying to get there. Separated from the puck. Tripping on Kendall. PK just had quite a long shift out there, and Jocelyn and Demi come out along with Maddie and Sizzle. Maddie sends it into the near side corner. Demi sends it up the wall, stopped at the hash marks. Back up to the point. Down low. Takes the shot. Over Luch's head and in the goal. Glenview sends it up. Greta grabs the puck. Carmen blows a tire and ends up sending it up the near side wall. Battle at the blue line. Goes back over to Greta on the far side. Greta's going to carry it up the far side wall. Bounces it off, trying to chase after it. Picks it back up behind the net. Glenview steals it away, goes into the corner. Jess battling for it. Bottom of the circle. Picked up by Brownie, sent back over to the far side wall. Jess battling for it. Brownie trying to smack away at it. Goes back over to Jess on the far side. Brownie trying to poke it away. Puck goes across the crease up to the near side wall. Grabbed up by Carmen. Carmen back down low to the hash marks. Glenview has it back behind the net. Brownie battling for it. Glenview comes away with it. Goes up the far side wall. Back in through the middle. Tipped away from Alexa. Grabbed up by Jess just before the blue line. Sent in towards Luch. Goes back behind the net, and Carmen's going to pick it up. Pushes it up towards Brookie. Brookie turns around. Her pass gets stopped at the blue line by Glenview. Up the near side wall. Carrying it down low. Back up to the point. Goes through the slot. Kicked over to the far side of the net. Alexa sends it up the wall. Goes up towards the blue line. Glenview comes back. Icing being called. .5:43 here to go in the second period. Hawks trail by 1. Tater Dumpty comes to the dot. Grabbed up by Bus at the top of the circle, taken away. Luch steps up. Grabs that puck. Tater at the dot. Bus grabs it. Glenview kicks it back into the corner. Demi sends it up the near side wall. Stopped at the blue line. Loose puck. Tater sends that one into the protective netting. Face-off goes back behind Luch. Liv sends it up the wall to Philly. Philly bounces it around 1. Picked up at center ice. Puck comes over to the near side. Alexa pulls up. Stops it along the near side wall. Gets it towards the blue line. Puck goes over to the far side wall. Liv sends it back in. Delayed offsides. Back behind the net. Up the near side wall. Back in through center ice, tapped by Brookie. Brookie goes over to the far side wall, picks it back up, gets it over to Liv. Liv comes over to the near side, gets it to Alexa. Alexa drops it off to Tater. Tater crosses the blue line, gets shoved back down. Puck goes in through center ice. Good check there by Alexa. Picked up by Liv, back behind the net, up the near side wall. Grabbed up by Brookie. Brookie's going to come through center ice. Drops it for Philly. Taken away by Glenview. Loose puck through center ice. Grabbed up by Philly. Sends it back to Greta. Greta bounces it off the wall, trying to hit Caden as she was coming on. Gia swing and a miss. Backhand shot. Tipped. Gia puts it on net. Goalie reaches back, covers it up. 4:04 here to go in the second period. We will have an ice cut at intermission. Kendall comes out, joins the group. Gio wins it over towards Kendall. Carmen grabs it. Goes down, bottom of the circle, trying to center it up. Tipped away there by Glenview. Goes over to the far side corner. Picked up by Caden. Caden drops it back to Greta. Greta dusted it off around one. Top of the circle shot. Gets tipped. Goes over to the near side corner. Glenview with it. Puts it through the dot. Grabbed up by Gia. Gia on the near side goal line. Down low. Swatting away at it. Up to the top of the circle. Glenview comes across the blue line. In through center ice. Tipped away up along the near side boards. Top of the slot goes through the legs and over to the far side corner. Grabbed up by Carmen. Carmen looking to stretch it. Glenview stops it at the blue line. Caden pushes it up to the blue line. Picked up by Kendall. Kendall puts a shot. Goes across the bow and over to the near side corner. Glenview's going to pick it up off the wall. Go back behind their net. Gain some speed. Come back up through the middle. Kick save there by Jocelyn. Back up, bouncing puck into center ice. Grabbed up by Sizzle. Sizzle with the puck. Bounces it off the wall. Tipped away there by Glenview. Grabbed back up by Maddie. Gets it over towards Jocelyn. Jocelyn sends it off the wall towards Mango. Jocelyn grabs the puck at center ice. Buried up. Demi with the puck, trying to get a pass off. Mango tips it and sends it back into the zone, up the near side wall. Back in through center ice. Jocelyn stops it before it hits center. Drops it in. Jocelyn still chasing after it. Goes into the corner for it. Maddie trying to battle back behind the goal line. Goes up the far side wall. Grabbed up by Brookie. Brookie tomahawks. Puts it in through the slot. Kept in by Jocelyn. Back down the near side wall. Into the corner. Brookie chasing after it. Goes into the far side corner. Up to the hash marks. Top of the circle. Demi dusts it off. Takes the shot. Goes off of pad. Grabbed up by Brownie. Trying to get another shot on it. Tipped off the far side wall there by Jess. Keeping it in and keeping it down low. Jess gathers it up. Gets it over to Demi. Demi top of the circle. Puts it down low. Gets tipped by Glenview. Swatted over to the near side. Jocelyn chops away at it. Comes up towards the blue line. Glenview kicks it out in the center ice. Ends up going over to the Hawks far side corner. Back behind the net. We got 1:24 here. Back behind the net. Demi sends it over to Jess on the far side hash marks. Jess trying to go off the boards. Couldn't get it around Glenview. Demi picks it up in the bottom of the slot there. Sends it up the near side wall. Bookie trying to poke it through. Glenview trying to center it up. Gets tipped back behind the net. We got 1 minute to go. Up the near side wall. Brookie sends this one up towards the blue line. Picked up by Jess. Jess goes top of the slot. Far side circle now. Into the corner. Bush comes in. Picks up the loose puck. Looking for somebody. And it's in the back of the net by Taylor! Tying the game up here with 37.7 to go. Tying it up with 37.7 here in the second period.
Nice job, boss.
Tater at the dot. Goes back to the top of the circle. Grabbed up by Liv. Sends it over to Alexa. Alexa pass just misses Bus. Back in through center ice. Tipped away and stopped before the blue line. Bus battling at the blue line there. Liv grabs the puck, gets it over to Alexa on the near side. Alexa passes it up towards Philly. Tater picks up the loose puck along the blue line, carries it into the corner, back behind the net, kicking it away. Buries it in the corner, and that's the end of your second period. We'll be back after an ice cut. All right, ladies and gentlemen, teams are back on the ice, getting their stretch on. Got 17 minutes on the clock. Let the girls get a nice little stretch and move those legs. Once again, this is Frank the announcer coming to you live from Glenview Community Ice Center, where your Hawks are taking on the Glenview Stars. Score is tied at 1s going into this third period. Hawks in their white jerseys will be going left to right this period. Girls all finally make it out and onto the ice. Game cannot end in a tie. It will go to overtime if need be. All right, Glenview makes their way out. Looking for Hawks to make their starting lineup. Got Liv and Lex out there for sure. Jess, rookie. Brownie making her way out. Buttoning up her bonnet there. Comes over to Jess. Jess lost it back to her Liv. Liv off the boards towards Jess at center ice. Glenview drops it in. Got a fresh seat, so that's going to take a nice quick ride. Grabbed up by Alexa. Alexa goes off the boards. Liv grabs it at the near side hash marks. Ends up coming back into center ice. Glenview spins around, goes up that far side wall, stopped by Alexa. Alexa trying to go off the boards. Glenview stops it. Walking it in. Puts it over the top of Luch and buries it in the back of the net. Breaking the tie here at 16:31. Tater Dumpty back to the dot along with Philly. Bounces over Jocelyn's stick. Glenview's going to grab it, top of the circle, sends it over to the far side, just out of the reach and back up the far side wall. Tater trying to push it up the wall. Stopped by Glenview. Demi poking away at it. Bus coming in, trying to help out. Bus grabs it, goes back behind Luch. Over to Jocelyn on the near side wall. Philly stops it at the near side hash. Glenview puts it in through the slot. Grabbed up by Bus. Bus tosses it off around one. Goes and gets a pass off to Tater. Goes off of Tater's skates. Offsides being called. 15:58 here to go. Still a lot of time. Gia comes up to the dot. Kendall, Caden, Greta. Puck comes back into center ice. Carmen chasing after it. Tipped back down low behind the goal line. Grabbed up by Greta. Greta grabs it, puts it into the corner. Carmen pokes it away. Another shot on Luch, and she's able to catch this one off her chest plate and put it in her glove. Stopping the clock at 15:45. Referees blow the whistle. Maddie's circling around. Got Sizzle, Kendall, Greta, and Carmen. Maddie wins it back to the far side corner. Carmen battling it up with a couple of Glenview skaters. Greta goes and pushes it up into center ice for Kendall. But Glenview was right there, bouncing it off the walls. Goes back to the far side hash marks, picked up by Carmen. Carmen goes back behind the net, bounces it off the wall, gets it up to the blue line. Glenview sends it in down deep. They're going to go for a line change. Up the far side wall, stopped by the one Glenview player that was out there, picked up by Maddie. Maddie's pass goes off a stick and up the near side wall. Glenview tips it across the blue line. Stopped there by Sizzle and got an offsides call here on Glenview. Brownie, Jess, and Brookie come out with Alexa and Liv. Comes back to Liv. Liv surveys, sends it up the wall towards Jess. Taps it back into center ice, grabbed up by Glenview. Liv steps up, gets the pass over to Brownie. Taken away by Glenview at center ice. They retreat a little bit, come off the near side wall. Liv poke checks it. Over skating it and picked up by Glenview. Back up through the middle. Alexa's going to grab this one. Sends it up towards Jess. Smacked back into the hog zone, into the far side corner. Alexa grabs it. Bounces it off the wall to Liv. Liv sends it up the near side. Glenview gets in the way. Jess trying to push it through. Grabbed up by Liv. Liv goes off of a glove and up to the blue line. Bus comes on. Puck goes into the near side corner. Icing waved off. Liv gets a pass up to Jess. Off of her stick at center ice. Grabbed up by Glenview. Glenview drops it right back in. Luch touches it. Goes back behind the goal line. Picked up by Alexa. Alexa gets it over to Bus. Bus gets tied up on the far side. Glenview grabs it at the top of the circle. Drops it at the point. Ends up going back down behind the goal line. Grabbed up by Alexa. Brownie coming in, trying to poke it around. Loose puck comes near side. Shot on Luch. Kicked over towards Brownie on the far side. She goes off of a stick. Touched by Glenview as it cleared out in the center ice. Glenview pushing it up the blue line. Poked away and grabbed up by Alexa. Goes back behind the net. Bounces it off the wall. Back to Liv. Liv sends it up. Tater trying to poke it around. Goes across the bow and over to the far side corner. Alexa looking up. Stretches it over towards Philly at center ice. Philly crosses the blue line with it. Carries it down low. Loses the handle of it in the corner. Pushes it back around towards Tater. Grabs it at the hash marks. Mango's smoking in there. Ends up coming up the near side wall. Gets around one. Demi goes one-on-one with him. Separates. Kick save there by Luch. Puck comes up to the top of the blue line. Kept in by Glenview. Ends up going off the bench and out of play. Luch went down a little funky. Coach Todd comes over to see what's going on, as we only got one goalie out there. All right, we're coming back to action. Gooch got tended to by the physician on duty. Puck goes back into the far side corner. Demi sends it up to the far side hash mark. Stopped by Glenview. Glenview keeps it down. Tapped away again. Mango trying to poke it away. Goes down bottom of the circle. Back behind the net. Grabbed up there by Jocelyn. Jocelyn sends it off the wall. Kicked away by Glenview. Mango picks up the puck. Crosses the blue line with it. Stopped at the near side hash marks. Comes over to Greta. Greta's shot gets deflected. Picked up by Mango. Mango at the far side hash mark. Sends it off the goalie. Kick saved over to the near side wall. Glenview grabs it. Comes on the rush. Sizzle blocks up that pass. Ends up going back behind the net. Picked up by Carmen. Carmen comes up the far side. Gets it up towards... what the heck am I watching here? Maddie at the dot wins it back. Liv grabs it. Comes off the wall. Sizzle taps it across the blue line. Icing waved off. Goes all the way down behind the goal line. Kendall chasing after it. Alexa stops it at the far side hash marks. Goes back behind the net. Glenview pushing it up. Tipped away there by Sizzle. Puts it back behind the goal line. Ends up coming up to the far side hash marks. Alexa sends it back behind the net. Comes up to the blue line. Liv keeps it in. Kendall putting it through the slot. Liv grabs it. Tips it around the near side wall. Sizzle drops it in down low. Back behind the net. Brownie battling for it. Tips it away. Keeps it in the zone. Punched out by Glenview. Comes back to Liv. Liv looks up. Gets a pass up to Brownie. She taps it at center ice. Ends up going deep down in behind the goal line. Glenview sends it up to the far side hash marks. Got 10:40 to go. Brownie steals it at the goal line. Picks it back up. Sends it up to Jess at the blue line. Jess turns around. Sends it in the near side corner. Takes a bounce towards Glenview. Jocelyn picks it up. Goes off a shin pad. Picked back up by Brookie. Brookie shovels it backhanded into the near side corner. Goes back around the net. Glenview sends it into the far side hash mark. Stopped by Jess. Jess trying to poke it around. Grabbed up by Brownie. Up to the point for Demi. Demi goes off a boot. Grabs the rebound. Puts it off again. Just goes over the top of the net. Up the near side hash marks. In through center ice. Demi's going to come back to the near side corner. Pick up the puck. Comes over to the near side towards Tater. Tater trying to push it up through the blue line. Glenview swats it right back towards Jocelyn. Jocelyn gets a pass over towards Carmen. She grabs it off the wall. Gets it up towards Bus. Bus pass gets deflected. Comes off the near side wall over to Philly. Philly goes back towards Jess. Jess pushes it back up to Philly. Philly at the center ice. Carries it across the blue line. Top of the circle. Severs it over to Bus. Bus shot goes just wide. Back behind the net. Up the near side. Or back behind the net. Bus has it. Looking for somebody to pass to. Gets it up to Carmen at the top of the point. Her shot gets blocked up by Glenview. Glenview pushes it just past Greta, but she's going to come back, grab it at the near side hash marks, carry it into the corner. Grabbed up by Tater. Tater sends it up the wall to Philly. Philly swats it down. Glenview keeps it in the zone. Greta picks up the loose puck, carries it through center ice, dusts it off around a couple, carries it over to the far side, tipped off of her stick, picked up by Glenview in center ice. Glenview lost it down. They go for a full line change. Got 8:48 here to go. Hawks trail by 1. 2-1 to score. Comes up to the blue line. Glenview keeps it in. Puck comes back into center ice. Glenview grabs it. Comes back towards their blue line. Shovels it back towards the near side. Tipped away there by Alexa. Alexa serves it up towards Philly. Philly crosses the blue line. Puts it down behind the net. Mango comes over to the near side. Tried to cut it off. Ends up going up to the hash marks. Tipped away there by Caden. Caden carries it down low. couldn't quite get the handle on it. Ends up sending it off the backside of the net. Mango over towards Liv with the shot. Loose in the slot. Covered up by the Glenview goalie at 8:04. Maddie comes up to the dot. Comes back to Liv, top of the circle, sends it over to Alexa. Alexa takes a shot, goes off a boot, kick back up to the top of the circle, back in through the middle. Liv gets it down towards Kendall. Kendall goes into the near side corner with it. Back behind the net. Maddie chasing after it. Puck comes into center ice, grabbed up by Liv. Liv sends it off the near side wall, grabbed up by Glenview just inside the blue line. Comes back to Liv. Liv pushes it over towards Kendall. Kendall lost the handle of the puck. Comes back to Alexa. Alexa over to Liv. Liv up towards Maddie just out of the reach. Comes back to Liv at the blue line. Alexa far side circle. Kendall goes off the boards. Grabbed up by Glenview. Tipped away. Kendall sends it in deep. Comes all the way around to the near side hash marks. Picked up by Glenview. Goes in through center ice. Grabbed up by Brookie. Brookie's going to skate with it. Goes up the far side wall. Drops it in. Jocelyn at the blue line. Bounces over her stick. Glenview on the rush. Jocelyn was able to get back to it. Jess battling at the blue line. Carries it across. Offsides being called. Tater Dumpy comes to the dot, wins it back. Jocelyn's got to retreat back into the Hawk zone. Pick the puck up at the bottom of the circle, goes back behind the net, stops, changes direction, sends it off the wall up to the hash marks. Philly battling, ends up going back down behind the goal. Picked up by Demi. Demi looks up, trying to get a pass up towards Bus, but Glenview sends this one right back in. Grabbed up by Jocelyn on the near side wall, pushing it up towards Tater. Tater gets crunched at the blue line. Glenview poking it around. Jocelyn trying to get a pass up towards Tater, but taken away at the blue line by Glenview. Bus trying to pull it away. Tater swats it up the wall. Scores 2-1 here. 5:47 to go. Off of Philly, off of Tater. In through center ice. Bus trying to grab it. Still a loose puck. Ends up going over to the far side wall. Grabbed up by Carmen. Carmen back over to Joss on the near side. Joss threads the needle. Hits Tater. Tater ends up kicking it down low. Back behind the goal line. Glenview stops. Bus chasing after it. Grabs it in the near side corner. Gia trying to come in. She grabs the puck at the goal line. Goes off a couple of boots and over to the near side wall. Back in through center ice and over to the far side wall. Gia picks it up. Tipped away by Glenview. Top of the circle. Shot gets airmailed over the top of Luch. Up the near side wall and out of the zone. Glenview's got to retreat back to their own blue line. Glenview stretching it. Ends up dropping it in down low. Picked up by Greta up the near side wall towards Caden. Caden taps it. Gia gets it over towards Mango. Mango sends it in down deep. Got an arm up. I got an icing call. 4:43 here to go. Liv and Alexa switch spots. Maddie comes up to the dot. Sizzle pushing it around. Ends up coming up to the near side hash marks. Grabbed up by Alexa. Alexa goes off the boards to Sizzle. Sizzle comes in through center ice. Maddie picks up the puck. Crosses the blue line, drops it for Kendall. Kendall takes a shot. Back up top of the slot. Interference penalty coming up on Maddie. Hawks go on the PK here at 4:23. Philly at the dot. Top of the circle, top of the slot. Shot goes down, kicked away by Alexa. Poked away there by Philly. Philly carries it up the far side wall. Come! Interference penalty called on Glenview, so it's 4-on-4 right now. Will be 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 46 seconds. Philly, Jess, Liv, Alexa. Philly wins it back. Alexa takes the shot, goes in through traffic. Back behind the goal line. Glenview picks the puck up. Alexa picks the pocket, walks it in, puts the shot on net. Goalie's able to grab it, stop the clock. Tater at the dot. Comes back to Alexa. Liv top of the slot, puts a shot down. Tipped in front. High stick being called. High stick. High stick was the call, so the puck will end up coming all the way back in for a defensive zone draw. Tater at the dot, wins it over to the near side, tipped away. Tater puts it up to the top of the slot, grabbed up by Glenview. Glenview carries it down the near side wall, goes back behind the net. Grabbed up by Glenview, comes up the near side wall. Tater sends it up to the blue line. Back down behind the net it goes. We got 1:06 left on the 4-on-4. Alexa goes up the far side wall, tipped away. Glenview comes in, kicked away there by Tater. Grabbed up by Liv. Liv's going to carry it through. Drops it for Rookie. Rookie lost the handle of it. Tater trying to get it down low. Grabbed up by Demi. Demi gets it back over to Liv on the near side. Liv takes a shot, goes a little bit wide. Tater grabs it. Demi over to Liv. Liv lines up, puts a shot, tipped. Demi missed it. Glenview comes up the far side wall. Drops it in down low. Got an icing being called. Brownie at the dot, wins it over to the far side wall. Mango sits on the puck, sends it into the far side corner. Brownie chasing after it, picks the puck away, puts it across the crease, ends up coming up the near side wall, grabbed up by Jocelyn. Jocelyn carries it down low, takes the full body check. Penalty on Glenview. Got 2 seconds left on Maddie's penalty. Right now it's a 4-on-3. We'll have 15 seconds of a 5-on-3. Brownie gets tied up at the dot. Glenview pulls it back around. 5-on-3. Cleared out by Glenview. Comes all the way around to Luch. Got 5 seconds left. Pushed up forward towards Jess. Jess drops it for Brownie. Brownie carries it across. Top of the circle. Drop pass for Jess is a little bit off the mark. Goes in the far side corner. Corralled up by Bus. Top of the circle for Greta. Greta goes off a boot and back behind the net. Picked up by Jess. Hawks on the 5-on-4. Brownie down behind the dot. Gets it over to Greta. Greta takes the shot. Just goes wide and up the near side wall. Kept in there by Jocelyn. Jess kicks it back into the corner. Grabbed up by Glenview. Brownie sends the girl into the boards. It's going to negate the power play. Going to 4-on-4 here for 109, and then the Glenview is going to be on the power play for the rest of the game. Hopefully. Got 1:33 left here to go in the third period. Four penalties on Brownie. Four penalties. That's her fourth. She should be. All right, we got 4-on-4 action here for 109. We got 1:33 left on the clock. Goes back over. Liv grabs it up along the near side wall, gets it up to the blue line. Glenview drops it back in. Alexa picks it up behind the net. Comes up the far side. Stopped by Glenview at the blue line. Bouncing over Alexa's stick. Back behind the net for Liv. Liv sends it up to Philly. Philly met with some traffic. Kicks it back over to Liv. Liv's going to grab it. Go through center ice. Off of her stick. Picked up by Kendall. Kendall over to the near side for Philly. Philly loses the handle of it. Glenview picks it up. Back behind the net. Over to the far side corner. Alexa bounces it over to Liv. Liv comes up. Just misses Philly, but Philly's able to push it in through center ice. .37 seconds to go. Alexa's pass gets tipped, goes off the far side wall, grabbed up by Glenview. Sent it all the way. How is that not icing? Liv up the near side wall. Glenview grabs it again. Sends it back in, down deep. Greta goes over to the far side, hash marks. Picks the puck away. Pushes it over towards Philly. Philly kicks it back in through center ice. Philly drops it in. Got a penalty coming up on Glenview. 2.9 to go. $2.9 to go. All right, Luke's coming off. We'll go 5-on-4. Maddie comes up to the dot. Got Caden, Demi, Brookie, Jess out there. Glenview sits on the puck. And that's the end of your game. Glenview takes the first game. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. This is Frank, the announcer, signing off from Between the Blue Lines.